Hey guys, welcome to Woody Piano Shack. Thank you very much for joining me. Now, I've owned this synthesizer for the last 6 months or so and done a lot of tracks with it, and there are some things that I really like about it and some things not so much. In this video, I'm going to present you with my top 10 pros and cons of the Roland JD-Xi. At number 10 then, the thing I really like about this synth is the drum sounds, the fantastic drum kits that are built in. There are lots of them and they sound fantastic. Take a listen to this. This is the first one, a TR-909 kit. Not only that, but you can tweak them as you like. Let's take the snare drum there. See, I was able to adjust just that individual sound, which is really awesome. Want some effects on this one? Let's do that. There we go. Okay, it seems like the reverb is applied to everything, but the special effects I put just on that drum are only on that drum. Let's flick through a couple more sounds for you. Let's take a listen to some of the other kits. Switch off the reverb. 808s. Hey, let's play this a bit better. Classic 7/7s kind of stuff. I've used this one on a couple of tracks, the CR78, 606, 66. It's fantastic. It's like a library of all the classic vintage synthesizer drum sounds built in here. I love it. We have 80s kits, jazz kits, hip-hop kits, you name it. I'm not going to go through them all now, but this is my top 10 favourite thing about the JD-Xi. At number 9, the thing I dislike about the instrument, there's no easy way to mute drum parts. Here I have a drum pattern I created, it's based on Jack Your Body. It sounds fabulous with the 909 kit, the house music sound of course. But if I want to just adjust the sounds, maybe mute the kick for a while, that's just something you tend to do on a build-up of a track, or just the hi-hat, take out the hi-hat. I can kind of do it, there's no way I can quickly mute it. But if I can find the hats, I can turn down the level. There, the bass is gone. But then if I want the hats back again, I have to kind of press that one, then turn up the level, put the bass drum back. A bit of a pain. I wish you could just kind of, for example, shift, hit the sound you want, and then mute that particular drum sound. It's a bit of a pain the way it's done right now. Okay, at number 8 then, both a pro and a con, we have to address this. Yes, the mini keys. I know a lot of you guys absolutely hate them, but think of it this way. I do enjoy the form factor of this keyboard. It's nice that it's small, compact. I love sitting on the couch, putting it on my lap and just jamming away. It's fabulous. And if it had full-size keys, you wouldn't be able to do that. To do something in the same size as this with full-size keys, you'd probably only get like 1.5 octaves. For me, I'd rather have, I think this is 37 keys, I'd rather have 37 mini keys than 20 full-size keys. And you know what? These mini keys, let's find some. Not too bad, they're quite nice to play. There are some little sharp edges here if you get your fingers stuck under there. I thought it was broken the first time I played these keys because I was playing chords and noticing sharp edges and stuff here. Other than that though, they're okay. They're perfectly playable for the majority of stuff that you're going to do on this. You can always hook it up to a MIDI controller if you want something else. So both a pro and a con, the 37 mini keys. Oh, this guy is a total moron. Doesn't he know that his earphone cable thing is banging into his microphone and making an awful racket? Why did he upload this rubbish? Why not just re-record it and upload a proper version? I don't know. I think I'm going to write an angry comment. Yeah, and a thumbs down as well. And by the way, everybody knows that mini keys suck. This guy is a real noob. So at number 7, one of the things that I really enjoy about this instrument is the hand-on controls. It's pretty good. The stuff I need to get to most often is here on the front panel. We have knobs, of course, for cutoff, resonance, and the knobs feel pretty good. They're nice and sturdy, not too wobbly or poor feeling quality-wise. They're absolutely fine. And there's no stepping or anything like that when I sweep the filters. It's really fabulous. So we can adjust the level of each track very easily. The LFO features are quite powerful. Everything you could probably need to do with the LFOs are here on the front panel, although I don't tend to use them. And effects, I can very easily switch on and off effects and adjust the levels of them and whatnot, things like that. So for me, I really enjoyed, it's quite a minimal control panel, but everything you need is there. If it's not, you can dive into the menus, but I have never needed to do that. So thumbs up for the front panel and the GUI. That brings us on to number 6, which is a disadvantage of this front panel. There's one control that I find really annoying, and it's an important one. It's this envelope control. Now, as you'd probably know, synthesizers usually have an attack, decay, sustain, and release. 4 different parameters you can adjust. And Roland have merged these to just one that they call the envelope knob. It works like this. Let me show you. We have an analog tone going on here. If I move it all the way to the left, we get a sort of very short, snappy sound. That's okay. As you move to the middle, it becomes like an organ, you know, very fast attack, very fast release. As we carry on, I get a very slow attack and a slow release, which is kind of okay, I suppose. But what happens if you want a fast attack and a long release, like a bell, like a chiming sound? Let's see. Maybe that's almost like it, I don't know. I find this envelope control to be a bit of a pain. I can't get the sounds that I want from it. You have to dive into the menus if you need to do it, but I don't bother. I just find another sound amongst the presets that sort of has more or less what I need in mind. The other thing that's interesting, I don't know if I can demonstrate this for you, but it is possible to control a filter envelope as well. And maybe the filter envelope has a slow attack, which means that you don't hear anything in the beginning of the sound, and then adjusting the envelope to have a fast attack doesn't have any effect at all because the filter track is not controllable by this. I wish this envelope control, in other words, would control both the filter envelope and the amplitude envelope, but it doesn't. It's only the amplitude envelope, and you don't get much control over it either. So that is a bit of a thumbs down for me. At number 5, we have another feature that wasn't implemented as well as it could have been, I think, on this instrument, and it's the vocoder. I don't have it connected right now, but I found it to be quite hard to use and difficult to get a good sound out of. It was very, very sensitive depending on how close you had your gob to the microphone. It made a big difference. There was lots of popping sounds, and the actual synthetic sounds, the robot sounds and the choir sounds and stuff were not that good, I didn't think. There's also an auto-tune feature. So in theory, you can sing into the microphone and it will tune itself, you know, the auto-tune effect to whatever you're playing on the keyboard. but I've never got that to work. I've played around with all of the settings, edited various parameters, but for me the auto-tune just doesn't work. So I've got to give the vocoder a thumbs down as well, I'm afraid. You are hearing one of the patterns that I created myself on the instrument, and without any doubt at all, one of the best features of this instrument, my favourite features, is this pattern sequencer that we have built in here. It's a 4-track affair. You can have 2 digital synth voices, drums and an analog tone playing at the same time. And you can even have up to an 8 measure long pattern, so there's lots of room there for interesting chord changes and sequences. Let me stop this one for a second. The thing I like about it the most is its immediacy. You don't have to do any menu diving really to use this. You just use the record button, the play button here, and you select which track you want to record on. It is so simple, so inspirational, so easy to use. I love it, and I've created some fabulous tracks that I don't think I could have done with any other instrument. So huge thumbs up for the pattern sequencer on this thing. When I play other synthesizers that don't have it, I really miss it. So great job, Roland. It's also possible to record movements of the knobs as part of the pattern, which is really nice. I appreciate them putting that feature in. But one of the drawbacks I've noticed when using this is if you record too many knob movements, then the instrument goes haywire. I think we saw that in the last video when I was demonstrating how I created some of my songs. I don't remember exactly, it was when I bought the instrument, but I think it even crashed when I tried to record too much animation of the hi-hat sounds. I certainly got a whole bunch of error messages coming up on the screen which I wasn't able to recover from. So a very nice feature, but I think they needed a slightly more powerful processor or more memory maybe to implement it properly. What you hear there is the sound of the analog track. This little synthesizer has one track that has analog circuitry, so you can play analog filters and analog voltage controlled oscillators and things and get a sound of a real analog synthesizer, which is nice. I think it's a bit of a gimmick, and this is one of the downsides of the instrument for me. Yes, the thing is, it has 2 fabulous supernatural synth tracks, which is Roland's emulation of analog synthesizers using sort of digital processing. They sound really fabulous, and this analog track doesn't sound as good as their digital tracks, in my opinion. It's much more limited. I've got a hard job finding presets that I like, and it's a bit noisy. It doesn't seem to have all that much punch, and it's monophonic as well. I can only play one note at a time. Between you and me, I would have preferred it if Roland added an extra supernatural digital synth track instead of this analog synth track. I think it's a bit of a gimmick. The best thing at number 1, the best thing about this synthesizer is the sounds. They are amazing. I can't believe such a big sound is coming from such a small keyboard. Just listen to the richness of these pads. And these sounds are directly descended from like the $2,000, what do they call it? The Roland Jupiter 80? Is that the top of the range synthesizer that Roland have just now? It's the same sounds that were on my Roland FA08 and the Roland FA06, and now you get them in this little box. I mean, you can think of this, if you like, as a sound module with a little 37-note keyboard tacked on. The other thing I like is they're arranged into categories. That's the vocoder. Got brass there. Various brass sounds. We've got solo sounds, sequencer sounds. It's very easy to find the sounds that you want. I just really enjoy this thing. The categories and browsing the sounds is wonderful, and the sounds themselves are absolutely fantastic. Another thing I really appreciate about the sounds on this thing is that Roland have not included saxophones, tubas, cellos, French horns, guitars and stuff. No, all you get with this one, basically, apart from a few exceptions, are synthesizer sounds, which I love. It's one of my pet peeves that synthesizer manufacturers include acoustic and orchestral instruments in these sound sets. I don't want that. This is a keyboard. I want to play keyboard sounds, and this thing really delivers. I don't have to wade through all these crappy orchestral sounds. I like to play synthetic synth-based music, and this thing delivers in spades. And if the sounds built into this weren't enough, and there are hundreds of them, and I'm pretty sure they are enough, especially when you start to tweak them using the controls and the menus, if the sounds aren't enough for you, then I'm told, I haven't tried it, but I'm told you can download extra sound banks from, is it called Roland's Axiom site, where there's hundreds of user-generated and Roland-generated extra content for this synthesizer. I haven't tried it, but we need to do that one day in a separate video. So there you go, that's my top 10 pros and cons. So there you have it. That was the 10 things that first came to mind after using this one for 6 months. What do you think? I'd love to hear your opinions. Did I miss anything? Did I get anything wrong? What are your favorite and least favorite features of the JD-Xi? Thanks for watching this video. Remember to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And thank you very much if you have. I'll see you again in another video shortly. Cheerio!
Woody piano shot.